Niggas in my grill tryna phase me.
This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you again. And this time we're all over at the New York Daily News.com. The article is by Brandon S. And this is a report from Mississippi. It says Mississippi mayor apologizes for sins of our past in the 1970 shooting by cops. More than 50 years after two people were shot to death by cops at a historically black college in Mississippi, two politicians issued a formal apology at a long overdue commencement. During a graduation ceremony for the class of 1970, Jackson State University Jackson Mayor Chowie, I apologize, A.L., and Mississippi State Senator Hillman Frazier addressed to the families of the two men killed. Okay, and this is the image from 1970. Okay, as Baldwin once wrote, when we cannot tell the truth about our past, we become trapped in it. Uh, Loom said, I believe as a city we must publicly atone for the sins of our past and proclaim a new identity of dignity, uh, e- e- equality, and justice. On May 5th, 1970, 21-year-old Jackson State student Philip Lafayette Gibbs and 17-year-old James Earl Green, a high school student who was walking home from work, were unjustly gunned down. Two innocent young black men terrorized and traumatized a community of black students and committed one of the gravest sins in our city's history, according to Loom. The shooting occurred during a campus protest of racial injustice stemming from white people hurling slurs and items at black students on campus. After a member of the crowd threw a bottle towards the police, shooting broke out, resulting in Gibbs and Green's death and 12 injuries. Okay? The commencement ceremony for the class of 1970 was canceled, with students getting diplomas in the mail. Some 74 people from the class turned out for Saturday's ceremony. The state of Mississippi never apologized for the tragedy that occurred on this campus that night. They never apologized, Frazier. So since I am here representing the state of Mississippi in my role as state senator, I'd like to issue an apology to the families, the Jackson State family, for the tragedy that occurred that night because they took very valuable lives. Okay? No officer was charged in the incident, and a entirely white jury did not award the family of Gibbs and Green with money in the civil suit, according to the Associated Press. As part of the ceremony, Jackson State gave a posthumous honorary doctorate degrees to Gibbs and Green, which were taken by their respective sisters. And that is it for this story. Um, it's basically, a right that's being wronged. Um, Even though it took 50 years to do it, I am glad that someone was willing to uh, just apologize for the tragedy of the two young men whose lives were taken in a time where we were still, as black people, fighting for our equality, fighting for justice, fighting for a right to exist um, in these United States. And I'm just so glad that they were able to come back and have a ceremony to honor them, and not only them, but the deaths of their fallen students, friends um, that may have attended at that time. And that's just basically it for this story. I wanted it to be out here. I do apologize if I mispronounced anyone's name during this article. My sincerest apologies. But rights are being wrong, one day at a time, step by step, you know. And I would definitely like to hear what you have to say. So please drop down in the comments. Please let me know how you feel about this story. If you are an alumni of this school, past or present, I would definitely like to hear from you. I would definitely like to hear if you are a present um, alumni of this school, or you attended this school, how it has changed in ways of diversity since 1970. If you are a past alumni or student of this school, I would also like to hear the changes that you've seen since this 1970 incident where two young black men lives were taken. So sound off in the comments. And with that being said, guys, I will see you and talk to you in another video.